Hey guys, Wadsm here. So we need to talk about rail and wall riding in Mario Kart World, guys, because this might just be the biggest core gameplay addition that they did to Mario Kart in forever. I mean, they had added the mini turbos in Mario Kart 64 and the tricks in Mario Kart Wii, but other than that, maybe gliding underwater, but it's just changed up how you play a little bit and just on some parts of the map. So this is a universal new change, a technique that you can use anywhere, and we have barely seen any footage of it. And when I got my hands on the game a week ago, I played it for 3 hours. I recorded 2 hours of footage, which I linked here. I tried out so much with rail riding and wall riding, and I just looked at so much other footage and analyzed all of it, and we need to talk about it in detail, right? I've played competitive Mario Kart before, if you haven't known. Played like in the World Cup, the highest divisions and stuff. So I know a bit about tech in Mario Kart, and this could be a whole game changer. So, we need to talk about this in detail, and we're gonna do this right now, so we don't waste any more time and dive right into it, okay? Alright, before we talk about wall and rail riding, we need to get onto them. How do we do that? Jumping. We can do that off ramps, with feather, or with the new charge jump that Nintendo introduced. The first thing that I tried when I got my hands on the game with the charge jumping was to see if you just can spam it on straightaways, because after a jump you can do a small trick. Might be potentially faster than just going straight. In old games there was snaking, right? Just drifting left and right on straightaways, and to me, charge jumping on straightaways didn't seem faster than just going straight without doing anything. Snaking as well, actually. I tried that, and you see some footage here where it just doesn't seem to do much. Other drivers, also when I use charge jumping, they just seem to just go as fast or even faster than me, just driving straight. So that's not a thing. But charge jumping can be used in more versatile ways. You know, you can just charge jump onto other objects and also get another trick. So you get 2 tricks, and in this game there appears to be a new mechanics, which we're just gonna call chain tricks for now, where you just get a longer mini turbo after you used 2 consecutive tricks in a short amount of time. And then charge jumping can actually prove to be faster on straightaways if you just have things to trick on. That could be anything. That could be a car, that could be another player, that could be an animal running over the track or something, even lamps or something. But as long as there's something, you might be able to use the charge jump just on straightaways to be faster just like that. Because apparently if you just hold your charge jump in order to charge it, you get slowed a little bit, right? But the chain trick and the longer mini turbo after getting 2 tricks in the air, it's probably worth the cost of just slowing down while charging your jump, right? And it also depends, apparently, how you bounce off something, because in this clip you can see you get a good boost forward when you just get boosted off the car, right? But on this clip, when I tried it, sometimes I would just get shot off into the air, straight into the air. And the more airtime, generally the slower you are, because on the ground you're just faster than when you're in the air. So the angle at how you jump onto things is actually very important. Also, one thing I noticed is that spamming charge jump on straightaways on water when you're on the jet ski is actually faster, but that's due to the special nature of the water itself, because after you jumped once, you just kind of get bounced off the water once more, and you can immediately trick after again, so twice, and that's probably, yeah, that counts as a chain trick, and you just get the faster mini turbo. And you can really see it here, how you just consecutively get this longer mini turbo when you just spam charge jumps on the water. And also for charge jumping, you can just keep on holding it. You just don't need to get a normal mini turbo. You can also get a super mini turbo of that. I haven't tested it against other players, so I don't know if that's faster, but a super mini turbo is so much longer than a normal mini turbo, so this might be also fast on straightaways. We will need to see more footage to confirm that. One downside of the charge jump when it comes to getting onto a wall is it has a bit of startup time, right? If there's a wall right after a corner, a turn where you drift out of, you need some time and a straightaway to actually charge up the charge jump, so you might not be able to get onto every wall as well as you want to without losing a lot of time, or the drift before that, or just you taking the corner before it in not the right angle or something. But some additional things about the charge jump that I found in footage and just playing myself: you can actually get a coin of certain objects if you just jump onto them. Like in this clip, the zebra, I jump on it, I get a coin. So that might be a trade-off that is worth it for you if you're just lacking in coins, because coins are still a very potent tool in this game. You can also charge the charge jump off-road, so this might be something that you can do off-road in order to just accelerate immediately after you get close to the end of the off-road, and also just cut off a little bit of the off-road, because you can then just jump over the last part of the off-road, so that's something you could do. Also, charge jump has a huge shortcut potential. I tried it a little bit in the footage that I could record. But yeah, here on this Rosalina track, you see how I try to jump over the off-road. So with a bit of optimizing, and maybe in some other parts of the game it's possible to use the charge jump in itself to create some shortcuts with a well-timed and well-positioned charge jump. Also, if there would be an object on the shortcut, like a box on this one, for example, on this new Faraway Oasis stage, then you could maybe bounce off the objects, even get a double trick, get enough airtime to get over the shortcut, and maybe that's something you can do. We will need to find out when we get our hands on the game again. And also, maybe, we don't know yet if you can use the charge jump like a standstill mini turbo, like in Mario Kart Wii, because in the footage that we could record, auto acceleration was always turned on, and we could not turn that off. But what you can do is just brake a bit while you charge up your charge jump in order to just lose a few positions and then get a better item. But you also accelerate very fast again, because you have already a charge jump charged up. You trick and get a little boost, right? So that's maybe one way to optimize bagging a little bit, that it's kind of a replacement of a standstill mini turbo in front of item boxes, where you can just slow down with the charge jump. And overall, guys, this is a very nice mechanic to me, because it forces you to improvise on the spot. Cars are gonna be always in different spots on the maps, right? So you just have to see what's in front of you, other players, other cars, or other objects that fall onto the stage. Can I use that to get like a double trick, a chain trick, and a good boost of that with the charge jump? And you also have to see, you have to know your surroundings, right? Where are good spots to just use it to charge it up, to maybe get on a wall and stuff. And I like that interactivity a lot. And let's get to wall riding now. I could actually try it out a lot in my play session. And obviously you need the charge jump in order to get on the walls. You could also use a ramp or a feather. With ramps, it seems like you need to actually trick in order to get attached to the wall, because in this clip I tried to get on a wall by just driving off the map and it didn't work. But on this clip, you see, if you just trick off the stage, you can actually get onto the wall. So this may be something that you need to do in order to get on walls, that you need to trick. But why use wall riding? It looks stylish, right? Okay, that's not it, that's one part of it. But it's actually making you charge your mini turbo so much faster. It's almost like 3 times as fast. Look at how fast you charge your super mini turbo here, but also the ultra mini turbo, you can charge it so fast. So whenever there's like a short wall right next to you, even on a straightaway, just hop onto it, get that super mini turbo, and just get like a free mushroom boost of it. Because a super mini turbo is almost like a mushroom boost, right? And this can be very helpful. It seems like you need to trick off the wall in order to activate the mini turbo that you get. So you can't really just release it and stay on the wall. Maybe you can. I didn't find footage of that happening. And when I tried it out, you can see here a lot of the times I just failed to get the boost entirely, because I tried to just activate it somehow without getting off the wall. But talking about staying on the wall, sometimes some walls are curved, right? And you just keep being glued to it. and just driving that curve on the wall. I thought maybe it depends on how tight the curve and the corner and the turn is, but I'm not too quite sure. But if you are on a curved wall, then you just take the corner as tight as possible, right? And it also has insane shortcut potential if you think about it. Here on Wario Stadium, I tried to stay on that curved wall, to just cut the off-road there and get the shortcuts, but it just wouldn't let me. But that's a very tight and steep wall. Here, for example, on DK Pass, I didn't try it, but this one looks like, yeah, it's not as curved, right? You could maybe stay on it, and maybe that's a way to just cut off that off-road, or maybe look at Faraway Oasis again here. On this upper path, just take that wall right here, and then you can just maybe cut off all of that off-road below it. That would be pretty strong, because we see the baby Mario in this clip he keeps cruising on that wall, and it's very curved actually. That's something we got to see and just try out which walls just work. And one thing, when I try it out all, just getting familiar with the wall riding tech, I just got this one clip where I just shot off very, very fast forward with insane speed, and I couldn't replicate it yet, but looking back at that footage, I think that's because I released the trick and the mini turbo just as I reached the edge of the wall, right? There was kind of like similar tricks in past Mario Karts, like mini turbo tricks, where you release the mini turbo on a ramp just as you trick, and it would shoot you way forward. But in this game, obviously, you need to release your mini turbo at the same time as you trick anyway to get off the wall. But maybe if you do this just at the edge of a ramp, and this is very situational, and just you need to have the right ramps for that, right? But you could maybe shoot yourself off very fast, and that could be a very neat tech to implement into your gameplay. And I think we will discover lots of techs like this with wall riding, because there's never been anything like it, and the potential is just so huge, isn't it? Alright, coming off wall riding, we get to rail riding. It seems like you can just land on a rail even without a trick and still get onto it and get basically glued and attached onto it. And once you're on a rail, it seems like you can't fall off anymore. And sometimes even some objects count as a rail, like this dinosaur that I wrote in my footage, right? I check that you can hold left and right and still not fall off it, because once you're on a rail, you are attached onto it. One thing on rails that you can do, you can spam tricks. When I did that and tried it out, it didn't seem that it was that much faster. Maybe because you have too much airtime, and most of the times in Mario Kart, if you have airtime, it's mostly slower than just being on the ground driving forward, right? But maybe if you just wait after the second trick, remember, there's chain tricks in this game, where after like 2 consecutive tricks in a short amount of time, you get a way longer mini turbo of it. So maybe if you just do 2 tricks on a rail and then wait out the longer mini turbo until you do it again, maybe that's faster on rails. Something that I found on rails that you can do if the rail is long enough is just hold your charge. Because your jump gets charged automatically, or your mini turbo gets charged automatically without slowing you down. Remember on the charged jump part that I talked about, that's just charging the charged jump slows you down a little bit on straightaways. On rails it doesn't seem to do that, so you can just hold it long enough to get an SMT, like a super mini turbo, and it's basically a free mushroom for you. But you have to know where those rails are, which you can pull it off, but that's something that you can do. And since you are being glued to rails, sometimes if rails are very tight turns, like in this clip for example, you just keep being attached to it and take a corner as tight as possible without using any speed whatsoever. And that's actually something, I mean, it's situational again, but you can exploit. Like, look at this rail here on Peach Stadium. It might be a bit difficult to get on top of that, maybe with a feather it's possible, but if you get onto there, you're gonna take the corner as tight as possible, and that will definitely be something to look out for. And just something that I like a lot, there's so many alternate rail paths, especially on top of stages, like here on Toad's Factory, which you can take, and that's just something that brings way more way more dynamic to courses, which I like a lot. Also, you can shoot off in every direction while you're on rails, left, right, forward and stuff. Forward is best if you want to keep checking on a rail, but you can also just shoot off to the side to correct your position after you've been on a rail. And it kind of looks weird if you just hold down or up your stick while on a rail. It kind of looks like a wheelie or a negative wheelie like this. Just something interesting that I found while playing the game too. I want to briefly talk about the feather as well, because to me it just seems like an item that we're probably sleeping on. I mean, it's the perfect item to just combine with just the wall riding and the rail riding tech that we just discussed a bit, which in itself has a lot of potential if you know what you're doing, if you know the spots well on maps, right? You can just get places where you just can't otherwise go, right? Like you just launch very high up in the air with the feather, and probably you can get some shortcuts out of that, which you can't normally do without it whatsoever, and that's a huge potential for the item. Also, if you think about it, charge jumping requires a bit of start time before you actually charge up a jump in order to get somewhere, so you can't really use it after drifting as well, right? Because you need a straightaway to charge it up, and if the wall is right after you end the drifting, you can't really get on it. With a feather you can, there's no startup, so that's maybe another good advantage of the feather to have over the charge jump. But it's highly situational, and you need a lot of knowledge of when to use the feather, and there's a high skill ceiling probably to it. And since the feather is mostly commonly pulled in first or second place, it's kind of buffing front running a bit if you know what you're doing. Since you're kind of not in a pack, you're a bit uncontested and can focus on those more situational shortcuts that the feather creates, and this could be a potential buff to the first place. Also, we don't know yet if the feather can dodge a blue shell. I tried it a lot in like the time I had with the game. You can see it in here and with some clips, and it's not the same timing as the mushroom, but maybe if you use it way earlier, then you can maybe jump over it. Some Nintendo employee said that it's possible. We need to take that with a grain of salt, but we saw in the treehouse footage that another Nintendo employee also tried to dodge it with the feather, and why would he try that if there's nothing to it, right? So we need to wait a bit to find out about that. And lastly, I want to quickly share some overall thoughts I have about wall riding, rail riding, and the charge jump in general. To me, it seems like that's one of the best new core features that they have added to the game like ever. It just has so much potential. Obviously, we won't be able to master it right away, and it takes some time, and also you need to learn all the spots and how it actually feels to get the best use out of it. But it's such a nice gimmick because it forces you to interact with the stages, the maps itself, the walls. You can interact with all the objects on it, the cars, the other players jump on their heads and stuff like that, and that just makes it so much more interesting and dynamic. And it also helps so not every race feels just exactly the same, because the cars are always gonna be in different spots, so you always have to be on the spot and improvise. And with all those walls and rails added on top of the normal paths and stuff, it makes the maps also so much more dynamic. So this feature has been a brilliant addition from what I've seen so far. And the best thing about it, I mean, Mario Kart in its core is a casual game, right? And it's very simple to pick up, and this is something that you don't need to know about the game. It doesn't complicate the game at all for any casual players that just want to pick up and drive. But it leaves a lot of room and potential for those who want to dive into it and just do more with this game. And this is a perfect balance to strike with a game that has such a core casual audience like Mario Kart, and I'm just so excited how they implemented it and can't wait to finally get my hands on the game when it finally releases. But that's it for today. Tell me your thoughts about all those new techs and everything that we discussed in this video. I just can't wait to discuss and speculate with all of you down in the comments below. Also subscribe, because there's way more Mario Kart content coming. I'm gonna dive deep into this game once it releases. And even now, I mean, I've just talked like 30 minutes about it, and yeah, that's it guys. Have a good one, see you around guys, Wadsm out.